doing more lives, having fun with these. It's fight night here in Sydney, Australia. It's Wednesday, wherever you are. I welcome you. We'll wait a couple moments to see how this sort of algorithm spices up. Whenever you catch this, if you catch me now live or if you catch the edited version, remember to like this, comment, put your 2 cents in, because that's how we all learn, and that's mainly the main reason this channel is growing. So I thank you guys. And we have this big card for Australia boxing. It's a good domestic card. Sam Goodman is fighting Cesar Vaca. That's obviously not the fight that Goodman wanted, but we know that Goodman has had his fair share of issues getting to fight night. So, I mean, I've been reading the blogs this morning because I'm a nerd. People even on Reddit saying that they're not quite sure. They wouldn't be surprised. Now, they were joking. They wouldn't be surprised if something happens and the main event doesn't take place. But I don't want to jinx anything. So what we're going to do is, I went over the odds yesterday. I told you guys about the 9-leg parlay, which we do every week. Whatever fight card we're covering for fun, I'll pick all the winners. And over the last 4 weeks, I've gotten 2 weeks in a row right. So last week we got 14 fights in a row right. The week before we did 9. I am going to make some changes though. So if you guys haven't put your money down yet on your parlays for tonight in Australia, that's a good thing, because they opened up the prop markets. They opened up some method victory bets, and I'm going to go over those in detail. On the channel, I did do a breakdown, analysis, and prediction of the main event between Sam Goodman and Cesar Vaca. I also did a breakdown of the Australian heavyweight title fight between Stevan Ivic and Tessie. Let's see if I can pronounce his last name. I apologize to anybody who watch that edited version. I did my best to pronounce his last name right, but he has a what? Tessie Vasutu. So yeah, Tessie Vasutu versus Stevan Ivic. That's for the Australian heavyweight title. I did a breakdown, analysis, and prediction. But today we're going to go over, Meme, what's up? Give me some locks. We're going over the locks. I got some locks for you. I'm going to give you the locks. I'm going to give you the odds. And then also I'm going to let you guys into sort of like the mindset of how I like to bet. I don't always put my sort of favorite way of betting online because it's a bit cowboy-like. Like, if I do a 9-leg parlay, for instance, if our first fighter loses, I'll change my whole betting strategy, and sometimes it pays off for me, and sometimes it doesn't. But I never tell you guys how I end up changing it, but I'm going to do that today. So, locks. We'll get right into that right now. What's up, Slay? Wherever you guys are tuning in, be sure to like this video. Whenever you catch me saying that, it just helps the video do better, and more people get to see the content, and it's how the channel grows. So wherever you're tuning in, I welcome you. Like this video. We're about 3 minutes in, so we'll get into the locks for sure. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 5-leg parlay. Okay, I am as confident with this 5-leg parlay hitting as any other parlay. Now, if you would have asked me last week when I hit a 14-leg parlay, I would have told you there were some fights on that 14-leg that I wasn't confident with. Now, I got lucky because we know the controversy that happened with the Navarrete and Suarez fight, but I picked Navarrete to win. And now these are all money lines. Remember that. So I will go over some stoppage prop bets, and I'll go over some stoppage parlays. But the 5 fights tonight out of the 9, and if you put them all up, now, the app that I use in Australia, I don't know if your American apps give you a boost. Is that a thing? Let me know in the comment section below if you're on your American betting app and you put like a 4-leg parlay and then you could boost the odds. Is that an international thing? I'm not sure, because online gambling has only been a thing for me since I moved to Australia in 2013. And I know it's fairly new in America. And when I tell my American friends and family, you guys would be shocked with how big and how normalized gambling is in Australia, in the Aussie culture. It's normalized. I was shocked. One of the biggest culture shocks for me when I moved here in 2013 was the fact that they call getting on the punt or having a punt. Having a punt means having a bet. Everybody gambles. The girls, the dudes, the teachers, it's part of the thing. So if you put these 5 fights on your parlay, and if you could boost it, it comes as close to a 2-1. And the riskiest fight is the Goodman fight. So what I'll do is I'll give you those real quick. I just found out about you, bro. In the last video, you gave me locks. I subscribed. Slay, I appreciate you. Are you making a video about this? Yeah, I've already done my breakdown videos of the 2 fight features, but I'm giving you my locks, and this will be edited up as well. This will be uploaded in my live playlist, but this video will also be uploaded in my video playlist. So yeah, to answer your question, this will be up. Take Trujillo. Guys, get your pen down. Take Trujillo at $1.07. The kid fights out of Bondi Boxing Club. I remember watching this kid spar when he was a teenager. You'll see, he's a fun fight. He's going to start the card off. And a lot of these, you guys know, a lot of these fights are featured fights to feature the talents from the gyms that are sponsoring the card, okay? You're going to have a lot of Bondi Boxing fighters. So Trujillo at $1.07. Now, these are just money line. Adams at $1.06. Kazi at $1.19. Now, yesterday, if you would have taken Kazi, he would have been $1.24, but he's dropped to $1.19. John Wayne Parr's daughter, Jazzy Parr, she's fighting. She's at $1.06. Harry Garside, two-time Aussie Olympian, $1.04. And Goodman's $1.25. If you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights on this parlay, it's $1.90. So, I mean, I know guys, like you put 10,000 on this and they all come in, you get your 10,000 back plus 9,000. You put $100 on this, you get your 100 back plus $90. So last week I cashed out $4,000 and I cashed out my $4,000 on my sports bet app. Appreciate you, Cedric. I appreciate you. That's awesome. Muscle Brown in the house. What's up, Car? So look, last week I cashed out $4,000 and I started that with a $10 bet. And I'm going to tell you guys how I did that. Now, I'll do a $10 bet for like this parlay, right? Let's say I put $10 on this parlay. It only plays $190. So it hits, you get $19 back, and then you just keep building and building. And then eventually I did 500 on the 15. It was 15 to 1. So then I end up cashing out about 4,000 Australian. And we've had a good run. So Trujillo, Adams, Kazi, Parr, Garside, Goodman, $1.90. Guys, those fighters are all winning. So you go as heavy as you want, or you carry those over. Let's say you put $100 on it, you get $190 back. You carry it over to the weekend because we got 2 fight cards. I'm covering it all on the channel, guys. We got the fight card in the UK, the rematch between Johnny Fisher and David Allen, and then we got Serhii Boacek in California. So tonight I'm uploading my first feature from the English card, and that's going to be between Kieran Conway and the Welsh fighter Jerome Warburton. And then I'm going to do the feature on that card with the heavyweights, and then we're going to do the Hollywood card with Boacek. But let's say this 6-fight parlay comes in, you got $190, keep the $190 in your account and just carry it over and build and be patient with it. Something I learned from Muscle Brown. So, all right, guys, we're going to move on. So a prop bet. Now, when you guys look at the prop bets, right now in Australia, we're only allowed to do 2 fights, the main event and the co-main. Let's cover the heavyweight Australian title fight because I featured it on the channel, and that's between the champion Stevan Ivic and the challenger Tessie. Now, the challenger is the underdog in this fight, okay? The champion is the underdog in this fight. And I had to reach out to a couple buddies of mine. These are Australian boxing nerds. They train at these are the kids that their parents have money. They're boxers. They're not pros though. So a lot of the boxing gyms will have sort of like groupies, but they're fighters. And they'll go from Queensland to Sydney and train at different gyms. And they know everybody, and they're kind of /media/athletes. They're in their 20s. And I turned to a couple of these guys. I'm like, bro, who's winning this heavyweight title fight? Because all the money's on Tessie because he's a knockout artist. And Ivic goes about his business a bit different. Ivic is the more responsible boxer. He's going to want to win on a decision. So I predicted on the channel that I was going with Ivic on the money line, 255. Now, he doesn't have a lot of pop, but these are heavyweights. If whatever side you like, so I'm not telling you who to pick here, but if you like Ivic, I like the decision at 310 because the knockout's at 1050. So what I like to do when somebody like a Shakur Stevenson, for instance, who's fighting a guy, remove the fight where he fought the kid who on late notice and he actually stopped him. But whenever Shakur fights, I'll look at his money line, I'll look at the decision, and I'll look at the knockout. And generally, if the money line's at $1.14, the knockout will be at $12 and the decision will be at $3. On fighters like that, I'll always take the decision just to juice up those odds a bit. And I think if you're leaning with Ivic, that's the move here. Because Ivic on the money line is currently at 250 and the decision's 310. Let's cover Tessie real quick. Tessie's the favorite, the knockout artist. None of these guys have a lot of fights. These guys are just domestic heavyweights, guys. And when Australia has these, Sydney does these cards, Australia has these cards, they'll always put the big boys on the cards because this is the land of Kiwis. This is the land of rugby. These are some big boys, and there's a lot of carryover rugby athletes who box. So there'll be like rugby boxing nights here in Sydney. And that's what this is. I mean, you ask Stevanovich, he's going to say he's a traditional boxer. But Tessie's a former rugby player turned boxer. And if you like him, money line $1.59. The knockout, if you're picking Tessie, it's because you're picking him to knock Ivic out. You're not picking him to outbox Ivic. So if that's the road, take him for the knockout at $3.10 and go heavy on that. And that's something that's a good prop. And the only other prop, and I took a lot of shit yesterday for saying this. Now, when I was doing my film study on Cesar Vaca, Goodman's opponent, when you look at a lot of his fighters, we know that the Mexican style is a come forward style of boxing. Pressure you on the front foot. So when you have a lot of these domestic fights in Mexico, Mexican versus Mexican, one of those guys is going to have to take the back seat until he doesn't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times they don't just push forward. So in the comment section below, one of you guys said that Vaca is not a pressure forward fighter. And they were like, watch his tape. And I was like, no, he actually is. I've watched his tape. It's just that in his last few fights, he's fought opponents who try to bully him. So it's taken him a while to get his momentum. And then when he finally gets into his groove, he's on the front foot. That's when he's at his best. And then he wins the fight. Now, I think that he's going to try to do that to Sam Goodman. I think Goodman is just a couple levels above Vaca. Vaca's going to have all that young energy. He's going to have that machismo, that swag. He only has one loss. It was a decision loss to Eric Ayala where he thoroughly got outboxed. And if Eric Ayala's outboxing Vaca, Sam Goodman's going to outbox Vaca. So the prop on that, because Goodman doesn't have a lot of pop and he's $1.25 money line, if you think, and if all my bets go to shit, I got like a couple $100 in my pocket. I'm going to be at the fights tonight, guys. So if you're in Sydney and if you're watching this and you're at the fights, hit me up. We'll have a beer, even though it's a school night. But I'm going to take Goodman by stoppage. I just think that just for fun. I'm not predicting Goodman by stoppage. But if you got some extra cash in your pocket, it's 5-1. You know what I'm saying? He wants that Inoue fight. He hasn't fought in a few fights. He's had fight camp after fight camp go through. And we could, reason with why we always do this, guys, bettors. We reason with why our picks are going to be accurate. But I like this one. So if you got the two props, Goodman by stoppage, 5-1, a lot of juice on that. And then the heavyweights, whichever way you like, the champion by decision, 3-1, or the challenger, who's the favorite, by knockout, 3-1. There you go. Let's get some questions in. Let's get rich. Muscle Brown, we miss you on the feed, big dog. Cedric Walcott, you guys are beasts. That coconut going to gas after 2 rounds. Jeff, so where are you guys putting your money? Oh, yeah, I'm going to give you one more pick, one more parlay. This is what I call my iffy parlay. This is 10-1. So if you're still tuning in, get your pen out. These are 3 fights that 2 of the 3 we haven't spoken about. This is a fight, Fawcett versus Luau. Fawcett is a fighter, an Australian domestic fighter, who comes to bang. He has a few losses. His cardio's through the roof. He's bodied up. His physicality is through the roof, and he wants to get into a dogfight. He's one of these guys that throws himself into the firefight recklessly, and he's learning how to it's up to his coaches to pull that back and rein that in and develop a little bit of, composure, I guess, when you're in there. He's fighting a South African named Luau. It's going to be a war, and Luau is the slight favorite, but I'm taking Fawcett strictly because I've seen Fawcett fight a couple different times. I've watched him steadily level up. I'm putting Fawcett on a 3-leg parlay. Fawcett is a 215. I already told you I'm taking Ivic money line, the heavyweight, at 255. And then there's an interesting fight between an Australian veteran, a 35-year-old, very slick southpaw. He's won domestic titles before, Wade Ryan. He's 35, though, and he's kind of turned into sort of a gatekeeper in terms of when you have young up-and-comers, they'll pair them up against Ryan, And a couple, in some fights Ryan wins, in some fights he loses. He's had a mixed bag as of late. But at 35 years old, he's been in some wars. He's equivalent to like one of the domestic British fighters that you see with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 losses. But every time you fight him, you're going to be in a goddamn dogfight. He's fighting a very tough younger dude, Fativ. And that fight is a pick 'em at $1.96. Now, when I was covering these fights 2 days ago and saw the odds initially, Ryan was the favorite. As I sat with this a couple days, did my research, I think Ryan is. I just think the battles he's going to be in are just going to show. So I'm taking Fawcett at 215, Evich at 255, and Fativ at 196. You put those three on a 3 iffy parlay, 10-1. $100 gets you 1,000. So I like that. Those are my picks, guys. Like I always said, what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to go to my app. I'll put the bets up, and I'll put them in the community section. Muscle, who you taking? Who are you guys taking? Let me hear your locks. And then if anybody has any questions or anyone wants to talk about any other fights, there's a lot of news going on right now. A lot of breaking news in boxing. Did you guys hear about the rescheduling of Crawford and Canelo? Only for 24 hours. We can talk about that. Deontay Wilder's back in the news. Erickson Lubin has been elevated to obviously once again. He's been like the IBF #1 contender 5, 6 different times. It's a shame he's not going to fight for a world title. I'll give you a shout out. Molesh. You don't want me to say your name. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Wherever you guys are tuning in, like this video, comment. Remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Let me know where your picks are. Let me know who you like. You don't have to agree with me. Wherever you're tuning in, I appreciate you to the channel. And if we don't get too much more interaction, it's my Wednesday morning. I got to go power lift. This was just going to be a short one, and it's looking like that's how this one's going to end. We got Erickson Lubin. We know Manny Pacquiao is fighting for a world title. Inactive after 4 years. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Muscle Brown, Goodman, Fisher, Boacek. Love it. What does that pay? All money lines. Well, Fisher, I think Boacek's at a... I'll do it right now. So Boacek's at $1.06. Fisher's at 46. Goodman's 25. I'm getting... Yeah, it's almost... I'm getting 193 back. I like that. Muscle, are you confident in Fisher in the rematch? He did... Yeah, Fisher got dropped, I think, in the late in that fight. And then maybe it was in the mid-rounds, and then he still ended up winning that fight on the cards. That's why this rematch is happening. People always are going to say it's controversial. Who you got in that Crawford versus Canelo fight? Guys, you do know that that fight has been rescheduled. And just by 1 day. Turkey Al-Sheikh has moved it. It was initially scheduled for I think the 12th. Now it's the 13th. I also like the under 1.5. You love the under knockdowns. See, guys, I know a lot of you guys love the over-under on knockdowns and a lot of you guys over-under on rounds. I'm a money line guy or a stoppage decision guy. I guess we all have our things. Guys, remember to like this video, comment, share, take part. We're always looking for feedback, and we got a lot of people who know what they're talking about with the betting. So when I do these lives, a lot of it has to do with the betting and the gambling. So you guys are on with some dudes who make a lot of money. A couple guys on this feed right now, it's all they do. So if you have questions, ask away. Archie Sharp versus Maxie Hughes. Is that happening? That's not happening this weekend. I was just referencing the fights going down this weekend with the card in the UK, the card in California, and now the card in Australia. Muscle Brown, so I'm not taking Fisher or Allen. Okay, I see. On the money line, I'll be wagering on the under 1.5 knockdown prop. Nice. Okay, so statistically, because you get I'd like to see the stats on that whenever there's rematches and on that prop bet, because in the first fight they fought, guys, there was 1 knockdown. So I want to ask Muscle, is that the reasoning? Because I wonder if there's science behind there. It sounds like it would make sense. Knockdown prop is my moneymaker. Get after it. So does that 3-leg parlay with the knockdown on the Fisher, the Boacek, and the Goodman fight, does that put you at about 2-1? And it gives you the ability to watch the fights without cheering for a winner. You just got to cheer for blood. Knockdown prop is my money. My bad. It's all good. Cedric, I would add Fernando Vargas' son to parlay. His son's very good. I didn't see is he fighting on that Hollywood card? Right now, the the betting apps down here in Australia are only showing us the Bohacek fight on that Hollywood card, but I assume as we get closer to Friday, they're going to open those up. Guys, this video is going to be up on the playlist. Whenever you're tuning in, like it, share it, comment it. I got to run. I'm going to be at the fights tonight in Sydney. If you're at the fights, hit the page up. Maybe we'll stop and have a beer. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll be uploading in a couple hours my breakdown of a fight happening in the UK on the undercard of Fisher Davis. We're going to be going over Kieran Conway versus Jerome Warburton. What a last name for a boxer, Warburton. The Welshman versus the Englishman. And I appreciate all you guys. Good luck to everyone. Let's make this money. Let's get after it.